Power ship expected at the Tema Harbour on Sunday.
Regional police commanders to set up political desk ahead of 2016 general elections.
And 21 people killed in Nigeria's Kano state.
Pleasure to have you join us. You're welcome to News Hour on GBC24. My name is Selike Makola Chiapalu.
And I'm Conrad Kakraba, and Robert Frimpong-Manso is doing the sign language translation.
And in the news in detail, information reaching GBC24 indicates that the 225 megawatt power ship from Turkey has entered Ghanaian waters. The ship is expected to arrive at Tema at 9 p.m. on Saturday and will be towed to its final docking place after a short ceremony on Sunday morning.
Initially, the power ship was expected to reach its final destination on Friday. However, GBC24 has gathered that delays in documentation and routine formalities at the Abidjan port, where the power ship was offloaded by the Black Marlin, has caused a 24-hour setback to the original date of arrival.
It is finally in the country's territorial waters. The power ship, capable of producing 225 megawatts of power, will arrive at the port of Tema on Saturday night, but would get to its final docking destination after a short ceremony on Sunday morning. On the 29th of October 2015, GBC24 reported that the power ship had set sail from the port in Tuzla and was expected to hit Ghanaian waters within 3 weeks of its departure. On the 22nd of October, exactly 3 weeks after it set sail, the Black Marlin, the submersible speedboat carrying the power ship, docked in Ivorian waters before it could be towed to Ghana. The operation had to be conducted in special deep water port facilities available in Ivorian waters. After some delays in documentation and routine formalities at the Abidjan port, and just at the tail end of the anticipated third week, the ship is now in Ghanaian waters on its way to the final destination, the Tema port. A short ceremony will be held on Sunday morning to welcome the ship.
The car power ship will arrive anytime this week. It berthed, the Black Marlin berthed in Abidjan. We don't have the deep, our harbor cannot take the submersible that was bringing it, and so it has to discharge it in Abidjan. And now the car power ship will be towed by 2 tugboats to our waters in Ghana.
Officials of Gridco say it would take about 2 weeks for the ship to be connected to the national grid when it finally docks. The second ship is expected to be delivered by the end of the first quarter of 2016. Abdulhai Mumin, GBC24, Accra.
And in connection to that, our news team at Tema has pitched camp at the Tema Fishing Harbour, the area where the power ship is expected to dock. Our correspondent Michael Donu reported earlier that engineers at the site are working tirelessly to ensure that the power ship will be ready to be connected to the national grid once it docks at the Tema port. He said residents are eagerly awaiting the arrival of the ship since they believe that the badge will help solve the issue of Dumsor.
The Ghana Gas Company has resumed supply of gas to the VRA. It has so far released 109 million standard cubic of lean gas to the Abuazi plant. This means the VRA is now generating an additional 600 megawatts of electricity. And according to the Ghana Gas Chief Executive, Dr. George Sipayanke, the resumption of gas supply to the VRA started at about 7 a.m. this morning. The gas company cut supply to the VRA a few days ago to allow for the tying in of Ameri power plant to the Atwabo power plant. The Chief Executive of Ghana Gas, Dr. George Sipayanke, is on the line now to throw more light on the new development. Good evening, sir.
Hello, good evening.
Can you shed more light on the situation now?
Yes, I'm happy to announce that we finished the tie-in of the Ameri plant to the VRA facilities, and we resumed the supply of gas to VRA at 7 a.m. today. We set up at 50 million scrap of gas, and you will ramp up to 109 million standard cubic gas. So the amount of gas, when all the units of VRA come on stream, they should be able to generate 650 megawatts of power.
And so what does this mean for our energy supply situation generally?
Oh, yeah, it means that the current outages that we're experiencing is going to improve. So there's going to be improvement with additional 650 megawatts of power that is being added to the stock.
And so basically, if you have to connect any plant to the main plant, is that what normally happens? You have to stop the supply of gas?
Yes, you have to stop the supply. And now that we have resumed, we are supplying gas now. And the 4 units of the VRA plants at Abuazi are now utilizing this fuel. We hope that when all the works on number is completed, some of this may use in LTO, and that also generate additional power for us.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. And that's Dr. George Sipayanki. He is the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Gas Company. Moving on to other stories, in a bid to create a humane environment for prisoners in the country, government has initiated steps to decongest prisons and correction centers. Dubbed Justice for All program, the move starts with a refurbishment of some prisons, review of all remand cases, as well as compilation of a list of prisoners to be released on parole. This was disclosed by the Vice President, Kwesi Mr. Arthur, when he reviewed a graduation parade for prison officer cadets in Accra. Here is a report by Nuto Bibinuto.
Since its institution in 1947, the Ghana Prisons Officers Training School has been churning out fine officers who largely manage various prisons. These graduates form the Officer Cadet Course Intake 23 of the prison service, of which 66 are males and 23 are females. The course participants are all 7 officers drawn from varied professional backgrounds for an intensive 6 months training. They were taken through rigorous physical training regimes such as martial arts, drills, extracurricular activities, and general grooming that spruces an officer for prison management. Vice President Kwesi Mr. Arthur mentioned the introduction of non-custodial sentencing and the Project Ifiase, a 10-year development plan that seeks to reform the country's prison system as a giant step towards 21st century criminal justice system.
In order to expand the educational facilities to enroll many more inmates, government is putting up 2 multi-purpose classroom blocks at the Nsawam medium security prisons and the Wa Central Prison. The projects which are near completion have 12 classrooms, ICT centers, and libraries. This is fully in line with our party's manifesto commitment to continue to invest in people. The effort of government to expand health delivery to all segments of our society, including the marginalized, has resulted in the registration of about 1,000 inmates of the Nsawam Medium Security Prison under the National Health Insurance Program. We are currently registering inmates in Kumasi. I wish to state that in due course, the program will be expanded to cover all inmates.
Some cadets who excelled in various courses were honored with the Sword of Honor, going to the Best All-Round Senior Officer, Nesta Siriano. Nuto Bibinuto, GBC24, Accra.
Still with the security services, the Inspector General of Police, COP John Kudalo, has directed all regional police commanders to set up a political desk ahead of the 2016 general election. The political desk at the various regional headquarters will monitor all political activities in the regions and submit reports to be used to direct police operations. The IGP gave the directive at the maiden Regional Police Commanders Conference here in Accra.
The Regional Police Commanders Conference is to, among other things, provide a common platform to review the activities and performances of the police service and to redirect their collective efforts in the months ahead. At the maiden conference in Accra, IGP COP John Kudalo spoke against indiscipline in the force.
For instance, it's a common feature for the rank and file to wear their uniform without name tags. The public is not enthused about such conduct. You are hereby directed to go back to the basics and deal with such infractions.
He said his vision for the police service is to enhance the professional status of the Ghana Police Service in order to deliver quality service to the public.
I'd like to finally inform commanders that I am operating an open door policy. At the national headquarters level, I can assure you we shall re-examine some of our practices to ensure that they meet the needs of departments, regions, divisions, districts and units to deliver quality service to residents.
Participants at the conference were regional police commanders, regional crime officers, and some selected headquarters unit commanders.
Members of the New Patriotic Party, the MPP, including party executives, this morning met and expressed grave concern about the recent attacks on the party's headquarters. They say attack on MPP is an attack on the nation's fledgling democracy and takes the nation back to the dark days of the culture of silence that prevailed years ago. At a news conference in Accra, the acting chairman of the party, Mr. Freddie Blay, urged the military and the police to investigate the issue with a high sense of urgency and professionalism.
The MPP faithful who believe external forces are at work against the party chanted slogans and sang to indicate the gravity of the recent attacks on the party's head office. In the early hours of Monday, 23rd November, the MPP headquarters was raided and vandalized by men in military and police uniform. According to the party, efforts of the attackers were busted by others in red t-shirts who invaded the party office and made away with hard drives, computers, and some documents containing sensitive information about the MPP. According to the MPP, those who were arrested by the police have been released.
Our findings so far suggest that what happened Monday was a wickedly orchestrated attempt to turn this office into a bloodbath and with one aim only, to score a political point against the country's largest opposition party as we draw ever closer to the next general elections. Ladies and gentlemen, the details unfolding are frightening. After a careful review of the invasion, evidence and subsequent events to date, the NPP is in no doubt that the attack on our offices was conducted by the state, specifically using certain rogue elements within the national security setup in full collaboration with some identifiable individuals now bent on destroying the fortunes of the party.
They also called for a thorough investigation into the matter.
The 15 men who led the raid at the party head office wore uniforms issued by the army. They carried weapons issued to authorized officers, specifically and mainly assault weapons. The armed forces issued a statement last Monday saying the armed forces had not, mind you, and mark here, had not officially sanctioned anybody to do anything at the NPP headquarters. And we are waiting for the police to come out with this finding. Then we can take it from there. The police have so far not given any useful information about the weapons in the sack. No action was taken against the trespassers who took unlawful custody of our head office annex. Confidential information on the voters' register and related items on electoral affairs were targeted and taken away.
The MPP says they are a party that believes in peace and democracy and will stand for that at all times.
I Spoke for Freedom, History and Politics of the Country Express is a book containing a rich tapestry of the history and politics of media development in Ghana.
At its launch in Accra, the author, Mr. Cabral Blay Amihia, said the book offers readers the opportunity to appreciate his contribution to the growth and development of Ghana's media and democracy during the nearly 40 years of his active journalism practice.
The head of the United Nations Office of West Africa, Dr. Mohamed Ibn Chambers, described the book as a deep well of exemplary experience.
He observed that the author is an icon of journalism who must be celebrated. Here's a report by Theodora Medeto.
The 308-page book, I Spoke for Freedom, History and Politics of the Ghana Press, expresses the author's perspectives on the history and politics of media practice and democracy, government press relations, press freedom, ethics and responsibility. Other areas of the book are the role of media regulatory bodies and media associations, media and society, the law and the press, governance issues for private and public media that have defined the evolution and development of the Ghana media, as well as the writer's own close to 40 years of experience in journalism practice. The author, Mr. Cabral Blay Amihia, who served in many capacities, one time as Director of the Ghana Institute of Journalism, GIJ, President of the Ghana Journalist Association, GJA, and is currently in his second term in office as Chairman of the National Media Commission, already has many articles and books to his credit. In this new book, Cabral says he spoke for freedom because they blazed the trail and gave him a purpose to serve God and country.
What has influenced my life? The teachers I met along the journey of life, from Seshubekwai, who taught me to brighten the corner wherever I found myself. So all my life, where I've been, I've tried to leave a legacy. Outside mainstream politics, you can serve your society.
The head of the United Nations Office of West Africa, Dr. Mohamed Ibn Chambers, said Ghana is described as one of the countries with the freest media landscape in the world because of the works of unsung heroes such as Cabral Blay Amihia.
In his career of journalism, we see the best practice in the ethics and professionalism of journalism. A good journalist, as he's always been, he never shied away or denied his profound political principles of a left-leaning Nkrumahist ideologies. He has also, and this is very important, never allowed his political ideology to cloud his sense of objectivity, fairness, and practice of journalism.
Dr. Chambers encouraged all, especially Ghanaian journalists, to read the book with introspect about their own practice of journalism and reflect on whether they are helping to promote and develop Ghana's democracy or denigrating it through disregard for professional ethics. Theodora Medeto, GBC24, Accra.
The National Development Planning Commission has concluded its original consultations on a long-term national development plan.
In Accra on Thursday, the NDPC presented the final preparatory document which highlights the results of the regional consultations.
The regional consultations were to ensure that the National Development Plan is truly reflective of the views of all Ghanaians. The final preparatory document includes the views and aspirations of ordinary Ghanaians, students, public and private workers, government institutions and identifiable groups, political parties, traditional rulers, and other stakeholders from various sectors of society. The Director General of the NDPC, Dr. Nimoy Thompson, said the final plan will encompass all shades of opinions and wishes of the citizens. He stressed that a long-term development plan is a requirement of law as well as a popular request by the people. It therefore behoves on all to make it the best document that charts the path for Ghana's future.
You're watching News Hour on GBC24 and GTV.
Coming up is news from the world of business, and Morris Ogbete will be joining us with that.
A very good evening. It's Friday. Thanks for staying on, and thanks to EcoBank, Airtel, and Hisense, sponsors of the business news. My name is Morris Ogbete. Now, Ghanaians are waiting for the arrival of the much-expected car power ship, seen as critical to improve the power supply situation in the country. Some businesses and individuals have been speaking to GBC24 about the expectations of the plant. For some time now, the country has had to ration power due to shortfalls in supply. The exercise has affected both domestic and industrial users. Although reliable figures on the cost of the doomsday to the economy are not readily available, experts peg the cost in millions of Ghana cedis. The energy situation has led to an increase in the use of generators. The 225 megawatt car power barge is seen as key to resolving the power crisis. As the barge prepares to dock at the Tema port, some businesses and individuals in the city of Accra have been speaking to GBC24 on the impact of the load shedding on their lives so far and their expectations of the barge. Dizingov Ghana is a company that sells generators and air conditioners. The financial controller of the company, Abraham Benson, says the company spends close to 18,000 Ghana cedis a month on fuel to power its generators.
In terms of our air conditioning business, there has not been progress because many people can't switch on ACs when there is no power. So the maintenance services in these areas went down. However, our sales of generators were okay in a way, but because fuel prices along the line within the year has also not been stable until recently.
His expectations of the power barge are moderate.
This is an emergency power. It's not going to replace the mainstay power, and from my understanding, we face more issues in terms of the fuel to power some of these plants that we have. So the issue, I don't think is bringing an emergency barge, unless of course this is self-powering. If this emergency barge is going to power itself, it's a good news. But it's going to use the same fuel with end gas and the rest. So if the gas is not available, I don't see it giving us any relief.
Some other persons are of the view that the barge can only be beneficial to the country if government is able to fuel it.
Yes, the situation may get better, but for me, really, an emergency power barge should not be a permanent solution to doomsday. No.
The power barge that is being brought in my opinion, I don't think it will solve the problem. But the problem is rather of, I see it as a problem of management.
The kilowatts that it will add to the current generating system would help significantly, and I only pray that a permanent solution is found to this canker.
The car power barge brings on board 225 megawatts, and this is expected to improve the power supply situation significantly. And so if you go to the market today, maize is one of the foodstuffs experiencing a hike in price. Tomatoes, on the other hand, though out of season, have dropped in price. With a 17.4% rate in consumer price inflation for the month of October being pegged the same as that of September, many hope that food prices will not shoot up drastically in the coming months.
Food inflation in Ghana averaged 7.14% from 2013 until 2015. It was at an all-time high of 8.90% in September 2013 and fell to a record low of 5% in July 2014. Prices of foodstuffs at major markets in Ghana continued to rise from the beginning of 2015. As of July this year, a big tuber of yam was selling above 10 Ghana cedis in Accra. 3 fresh medium-sized tilapia traded at 20 Ghana cedis. 4 fingers of small-sized plantain sold at 3 Ghana cedis. Meat prices, meanwhile, remain stable according to the July Food Price Index. 4 months down the line, some prices of foodstuffs at markets such as Malata have rather been on the high side, while a few others have reduced marginally. Julieta Boaje, a tomato seller at Malamata Market, said although the price of tomatoes may still be on the high side, the price has fallen over the past few months. A box that sold for 850 Ghana cedis in early October now sells at 800 Ghana cedis.
The local tomatoes are now being harvested, and this will make prices cheaper.
Mr. Morrison Ando, a trader in meat, said business was good, but the power cuts have necessitated an increase in meat prices to make some profit.
The meat with bone, a pound, we sell it 9 cedis. And without bone, it's 10 cedis. Last year, we sell it a pound, I think 8 cedis a pound.
The president of the plantain traders at Malamata Market, Nana Dora, said foodstuffs such as plantain and maize have been hit the hardest with the food price increases. She said a sack of maize that used to sell for 180 Ghana cedis last year now sells at 250 Ghana cedis.
The prices of plantain should have been cheaper, especially during this time. Maize that sold at 150 Ghana cedis now goes for 220 Ghana cedis.
Traders of fish and vegetables, such as cabbages and carrots, also seconded Madame Dora's claim of a hike in prices, but hoped that the prices will fall soon.
For many of the traders at the Malata market, the prices of the foodstuffs here is seasonal. So whether the prices are up or down, they are obviously expecting that the prices will go down once the Christmas season comes closer.
Esther Edu, GBC24, Accra.
And so for those of you who monitor events on the interbank market, you realize that Ghana cedi has maintained some stability against major trading currencies on the market. We'll go over to the interbank market and get latest figures. That was business brought to you by EcoBank, Airtel, and Hisense.
If you're just joining us, this is News Hour, and this is the health segment brought to you by FPAC Blows Your Pain Away. In the details, the National Executive Committee of the National Association of Registered Midwives Ghana wishes to inform all midwives and the general public that the 5th Annual General Conference will come off on Tuesday, 1st December 2015 at 12:30 p.m. Moving on to other health stories, strokes in children are generally underestimated. Health experts say childhood strokes, some of which occur before birth, result in devastating consequences. At a biennial public lecture organized by the College of Health Sciences on strokes in children, the head of the sickle cell clinics at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, Dr. Catherine Segbefia, said stroke cases among children in Ghana is gradually increasing.
A stroke is a sudden loss of brain function. It is caused by an interruption of flow of blood to the brain or the rupture of a blood vessel. Strokes in children often occur between the 28th week of pregnancy and 1 month after birth. Health experts say children who have congenital heart diseases, have undergone a surgery, or suffer from sickle cell diseases are at a higher risk of acquiring a stroke. Some symptoms of stroke include weakness on one side of the body, speech impairment, headaches, seizures, delay in walking, and poor feeding. Dr. Catherine Segbefia, head of sickle cell clinics at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, said diagnosing strokes in children is difficult due to non-specific symptoms and signs.
Strokes are not very common in children. They're actually quite rare in children. So for every one child that I see with a stroke, the adult physicians see about 500 adults.
Children may experience difficulties in swallowing, which also affects their ability to chew. Mr. Clement Amponsa, a clinical tutor at the University of Ghana, said brain damage following a stroke can cause an impairment of speech or language difficulties.
If you have a stroke after 5, then your chances are that you have permanent difficulties with language.
The health experts urged parents and caregivers to report such symptoms to health facilities. This, they say, will ensure timely diagnosis and reduce mortality.
Still in health, to ensure that the National Blood Bank has sufficient blood to save lives and run its operations, the Corporate Banking Department of Unibank Ghana has organized a voluntary blood donation exercise to augment blood supply at the National Blood Service.
Blood is essential in the survival of every human being, yet the National Blood Service annually faces shortages. The service, which needs about 250,000 units of blood for its operations every year, is not able to meet this target due to the unwillingness of the public to donate blood. It is to help address this problem that Unibank, led by its Corporate Banking Department, organized its second blood donation exercise dubbed Save a Life in 15 Minutes. The presiding bishop of the Methodist Church of Ghana, Most Reverend Titus Awachiprat, lauded the exercise and called on other corporate bodies to follow suit in order to save lives.
What we are doing touches the core of the Lord's heart. He gave that we might live.
The chief executive of Unibank Ghana, Mr. Felix Nyankupon, said this will help save lives, especially that of accident victims during Christmas. The executive head of corporate banking of the bank, Mrs. Elsie Dansoatre, called on all Ghanaians to donate blood on regular basis in order to provide the 150 units of blood the National Blood Service needs daily.
Believe that giving life is what is most essential, because people have to be alive and healthy first of all to be able to enjoy all the benefits of life. You don't have to donate only on compulsion because you have a relative or somebody who needs it. It becomes a part of your life to donate on a regular basis.
Unibank has set the last Friday of November every year to donate blood to the National Blood Bank. The blood donation forms part of the bank's corporate social responsibility.
And that's all in news from the health segment. We'll be back with what's happening on the international front. Do stay.
Now some international news. A suicide bomber has killed at least 21 people in an attack on a Shia Muslim procession in Nigeria's Kano State. A witness said the attack happened shortly after a man was arrested in possession of a bomb. The blast took place in the village of Dakasoye, about 20 kilometers south of the provincial capital.
Staying on terror attacks, but outside Africa, France has held a national memorial service for the 130 people who died in the Paris attacks 2 weeks ago. Around 1,000 people are attending the service in central Paris, including President François Hollande, survivors of the attacks and victims' families. A minute's silence was observed and the names of all the victims read out. Attackers with assault rifles and suicide belts targeted a number of sites in the capital. Islamic State later said it was behind the assault. In a series of coordinated attacks on the 13th of November, the gunmen shot 89 people dead. 3 more attackers blew themselves up outside the Stade de France stadium. More than 350 people were injured in the attacks, the worst in recent French history. Sports is next. We'll be back.
Good evening. Let's update ourselves on happenings in the world of sports. I'm Theophilus Sampa. This is in partnership with Obinco Pharmaceuticals Limited, producers of Lunat. Let's start off from Taekwondo, where the 4th on the Olympics Taekwondo Children's Open Championship is underway at the Accra Sports Stadium. The aim is to select budding talent for national use. More than 700 Taekwondo practitioners aged between 6 and 15 years are participating at this year's championship. The championship, at the disposal of the Accra Sports Stadium, is put together by the Olympics Taekwondo Academy. The two-day event is expected to be keener as the winners in the age categories will get the opportunity to participate in an international championship. The president of the Olympics Taekwondo Academy, Master Norbert Amefo, a former national Taekwondo star, throws more light on the event.
I'm so impressed. I can see that the children have picked up compared to the first, second and third one. They are showing more techniques. I must congratulate all the instructors for the good job done this year. I'm trying to develop Taekwondo in the country, whether local or internationally. As you can see, this is what we call development of Taekwondo. Next year, I will try as much as I can to get a sponsorship to travel with some of them to participate in international tournaments. 50 Taekwondo schools and clubs are competing. In handball, the Ghana Navy men's handball team beat Asomdwe by 20 goals to 15. The encounter was one of the outstanding fixtures in the ongoing Greater Accra League.
Activities of the Greater Accra Handball League continue at the various league centers in the capital. The Ghana Navy men's team welcomed Asomdwe in an outstanding Week 19 fixture. The Navy in the blue and white jersey were in the early minutes dominated by Asomdwe last. The Navy last won by 20 goals to 15. The coaches made some observations.
If you look at the style that they played, they played the game all right, but they were playing rough. These guys rough. If we are it's only with the players who know what they are playing. But if you are not a player, you don't play.
When you go to international at times, you see that if anything the referee did that, the table will call them to correct them. But here they don't do that. At times when you complain, they will give you card. Why should you complain?
The Greater Accra Handball League continues this weekend at the various league centers.
That's all for sports.
Gradually, graffiti is becoming common sights in Accra, but the latest painting on the walls of the Canadian High Commission in Accra is turning heads and giving this form of art a whole new meaning. There are many ways to catch attention, and so are there many ways to carry a message across. For the Canadian High Commission in Accra, graffiti and mural painting is their choice to draw attention to some societal ills.
The idea behind the wall is to have local Ghanaian artists speak about the issues confronting, some of the issues confronting society here, in particular Ghana's most vulnerable, so the youth. It depicts issues ranging from child marriage all the way to child labor, but also the solutions through education and empowerment.
With the main campaign scheduled for December this year, they chose to employ this means of communication because of the attention it will generate and the hope that its message can make an impact on society. Of interest are the people commissioned to execute this painting. They are the Nima Mumanchi Art Group, a group of artists from Nima who hope to lift the image of their community through painting. They are the hands behind almost all the graffiti you see on the streets of Nima, Kaukudi, Jamestown and other areas. Mariama Ahmed shares with us the moral behind this piece.
As you can see from the wall, there's a young girl with a man, an older man. I mean, concerning about child early marriage. There's another picture over there. You can see a girl writing something. It's showing that an education. Every human being is having a talent. So when parents force these kids to be forced marriage or any hard labor, we will not be able to. To know the person's future. Maybe the person can be a president or a lawyer or any other thing. So when you force the person, then you have ended his future.
Well, now you know. When you drive by the Akweje interchange, these colorful images will catch your attention while it brightens that part of town.
Earlier on Showbiz 24, Ohiniba Clement was there.
We don't plan for Yanko Pond. Crabberry Name one summer and then you name to Amawi. Sadia Witcherman and then one Ami.
How did it begin for you as a child growing up and how far you have come now?
Ohiniba Clement was in a family who were, let me say, who sings the Occupy Gospel group way back 1990. Yeah, Occupy na Makomeri. So I just came in and it's in my family.
What are some of the challenges you are facing as a young and upcoming artist?
It's about time I was Christians and so gospel musicians now I'm pushing with kakra to me so that we get to the top. I am and sign